Democrats suffer their worst CNN polling in network history. And it's all actually by design. I'll explain the by design aspect here in a second, but first let's bask in the glory of this incredible poll. That incredible if you are a Republican or if at the very least you don't hate America. This poll is very good because it demonstrates the backlash against the Democrat Party that is crumbling upon itself, within itself, around itself. And here is CNN's Manu Raju as he tries to hold back leftist tears.
First up this morning, a brand new exclusive CNN poll that paints a brutal reality for Democrats as they struggle to mount a unified opposition to President Trump. Americans' favorable views of the Democratic Party's brand are at a record low, just 29%. That's compared to 36% for Republicans. It is the lowest ever recorded for Democrats in CNN polling going back more than 30 years.
It's good to watch Manu man up and not crumble like his preferred party is currently in the process of doing. This is a big deal, but two things that we must note. Number one, it's early. Don't start gloating just yet. We can embrace this and say, okay, so the people are waking up. That's the more important news to me, is that the people are starting to realize just how backwards and demented in many ways the Democrat Party is, and their policies are even more disgusting. But number two, we cannot view this as a sign that the Democrats are toast. The Democrat establishment appears to be toast. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they are done. Okay, their control over the party is slipping away to the point of, I would argue that the future of the party is, well, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, people like that. And that's actually good news. I'll explain that here in a second. But what is going to happen to the old timers, the Democrat establishment, the quote unquote moderates, I guess you could call them, if that's even has any meaning when referring to the Democrat Party of today. But yes, I would expect Chuck Schumer is going to get primaried by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I would expect that his party is actually going to encourage him to retire and to back her. And I think we'll see the same thing in San Francisco with former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. I believe Saikat Chakrabarty, who actually coincidentally used to be AOC's chief of staff, I think that he is going to rise up, and the same thing is going to happen there. She's going to announce sometime between now and the primaries next year that she is not going to run for re-election. She is going to retire and go off and hopefully she's made enough millions off of her stock market cheating to to be able to retire well. And when I say hopefully, I'm saying hopefully for her. I don't care what she does as long as she gets out of D.C. But replacing her with Saikat Chakrabarty, replacing Chuck Schumer with AOC and whoever they determine will be the Senate minority leader, God forbid, Senate majority leader, that is not necessarily great news, because we are talking about an even further leftward lurch for the Democrat Party. On the other hand, I think that it could be very good news for us, because this could be the final iteration of the Democrats' failed attempt to become the most radical party of all time. If, in 2026, voters continue to rebuke the Democrat Party, just as they did in 2024, then we could actually see gains in the House, gains in the Senate, and we could see people like Saikat Chakrabarty and AOC, and gosh, please let Jasmine Crockett be on that list. We could finally see people like that become obsolete all of a sudden. I'm not suggesting that the party's going to continue to be a bunch of old white people running the party the way that it is today, ironically. But I don't know if the radical nature of people like Chakrabarty and AOC, if that will persist. I hope it does. I know that sounds weird, but I hope that they continue to be as unhinged and radical as possible, because it just makes it easier come general election time for Republicans to be able to defeat them. But on the other hand, if they are able to get into power, that's where, God forbid, they will be able to do the most possible damage. So in any other election year, I would actually be concerned, because rejuvenating a party adding in fresh blood, bringing in new faces, that's usually a good sign for them. That's a way for them to bounce back and for them to be able to do a whole lot of stuff. Many could argue that the Tea Party was an example of that, and we have Marco Rubio sitting there in Secretary of State as an example. Granted, he abandoned the Tea Party shortly after getting into Senate and meeting John McCain. But point is that that was an example from the Republican side of a rejuvenation of the party through fresh faces. The same thing could happen for the Democrats in 2026, but I don't think it will. The reason that I don't think it will is because I do believe we are on track as a nation to finally recover. I don't think that the bulk of Americans, including Democrats, by the way, want to go back to open borders. We've seen amazing results from Tom Homan, from ICE, and from border crossings in general that have just slowed to a trickle. Americans don't want to go back. So we've seen egg prices. Oh, the leftist media, legacy media was all over that. Oh my gosh, egg prices are skyrocketing under Trump. And then as soon as they started dropping back down dramatically, all of a sudden it's like, oh, let's not talk about eggs ever again. That's legacy media for you. But the other reason that I do believe we have an opportunity here to expand on Republican majorities despite this rejuvenation of the Democrat Party is because legacy media, which has been backing Democrats this entire time, they are losing power. They are losing control. They are becoming just as obsolete as Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. I appreciate you watching that clip. If you want to find all the other places where you can follow my work, the best place to do that is at jdrucker.com/find. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, and subscribe in other places like Apple Podcast or wherever, because it helps.